Welcome to Myth or Reality Stories. Is this story a myth and untrue, or a reality and totally true? You decide.
I shifted uneasily in my chair, the flickering glow of the jack-o'-lantern casting eerie shadows across the living room. Halloween night was always a time for fun and scares, but something felt different this year. My guinea pig Nibbles raced laps inside his cage, his small feet tapping frantically against the plastic floor. I had never seen him behave this way before, his tiny eyes wide with an unspoken fear as he spun in dizzying circles. Over in the corner my dog Max sat rigid and still, but his gaze never left the front door. A low growl emanated from him, low and persistent, like rolling thunder before a storm. "Come on, buddy, it's just Halloween," I muttered, trying to calm both Nibbles and Max. I had dressed as a vampire earlier for our little gathering, but the evening had taken a turn that made my skin crawl. The laughter of my friends outside faded into the background, and the festive glow of their costumes became an unsettling flicker. Every time I glanced at Nibbles, his pace quickened as if he could sense something I couldn't. Max's growl crescendoed, his muscles tensed as he padded closer to the door. The room grew silent, punctuated only by the rhythmic thumping of Nibbles' frantic trot. Peering through the small window beside the door, I scanned our suburban street, its usual charm distorted by shadows flickering under the full moon. The trees swayed ominously, branches reaching out like skeletal hands. I'd felt a chill creep over me earlier, but now it intensified, wrapping its cold fingers around my spine. The street appeared empty, but just as I turned away, a flicker of movement caught my eye. A flash of white, like a ghostly figure that danced between the trees before vanishing. I shook my head, dismissing it as a trick of the light or a figment of my imagination stirred by Halloween paranoia. I returned to the living room, and Nibbles had stopped running, staring wide-eyed at the door, while Max continued to growl. The air hummed with tension, and I could feel it suffocating me. I tried to reassure them both, but the sound of feet crunching on gravel outside sent my heart racing. My head spun. I struggled to form words as a desperate instinct urged me to barricade the door. I reached for the nearest piece of furniture, my heart thundering, but as I turned to move the coffee table, I noticed that both animals were frozen. Their bodies were stiff, and their eyes were fixed, as if waiting for something dreadful. Suddenly, the door rattled violently. Max leapt up, barking frantically, while Nibbles squealed in a high-pitched sound that sent shivers down my spine. I glanced back at the door just in time to see a twisted smile peering through the glass, its eyes glowing with an uncanny light. I took a step back. My instincts screamed at me to run, to escape. But before I could act, the image vanished, leaving only an echo of haunting laughter drifting through the air. The growling subsided, and silence enveloped the room again. I caught my breath, the adrenaline pulsing through me as I fell to my knees, trying to reassure my nervous companions. Outside, the shadows returned to their corners, and Nibbles, for his part, began to nibble on the fresh hay I had laid out. It seemed the terror had passed, but I knew this Halloween wouldn't easily be forgotten.
This story is a myth and totally made up by us. Please subscribe. Or else.